Hello again and welcome to a gorgeous stretch session I've got planned for you today. We're going to be stretching obviously from head to toe in all of the weird and wonderful ways that I've concocted for you. A few useful bits of equipment before we start would be a strap. If you haven't got a fabric strap, a stretchy band is absolutely fine as well, or like a belt, maybe the cord from your dressing gown, things like that. Blocks, you can never really have enough blocks if we need to prop ourselves up and make us a bit more comfortable. Because the idea with stretching is you want to focus on the muscle that you're stretching, not on the discomfort of the rest of the body, so we can use blocks to take some of our weight. And then a rolled up towel or blanket, I've just rolled up a jumper, might come in handy as well for propping you up. So we'll get started, shall we? We're going to do a bit of a more dynamic stretch to start to get us warmed up. So we're just going to begin with some arm swings forwards and backwards. Okay. And then we're going to start turning these into some arm circles. So we're going to start with hands together, circle them up, circle them down. Okay, so just nice wide arm circles there. As I say, we're just starting to get some movement, some length into the muscles and some movement through the joints as well. And we're going to start looking up and down with these. So look up when you go up, look down when you go down. Okay, nice and simple. Good. And we're going to hold at the top. We're going to take this into a full body reach. So stretch your fingertips up towards the ceiling. You don't have to look up all the time. You can look ahead of you if you'd prefer. And we're going to just gently lift the shoulder blades up, lift the shoulders up, extending at the shoulders and coming up to the tiptoes. And if you need to take a little walk around your mat to keep your balance, that's fine. And then we're just going to reach a bit more on one side, reach a bit more on the other side, and gently bring in that back down. Now I'd like you to cross your left foot in front of your right foot, okay? And you'll see that that's kind of dropped your right hip backwards. So we're going to take the right hand now. That's fine, by the way, if that right hip drops back, that's fine, that's what we're after. So we've got left hip forward, right hip drops back, and we're going to take that right hand, we're going to reach all the way up and then reach over to take a lovely stretch. You can reach down with fingertips and up with fingertips there. And then gently come back down. And we're going to do that one more time. So we've got, remember that left leg forward, crossed in front of the right foot. Right hip is kind of dropping back and down. We're going to reach up with the right hand, reaching up and getting that lovely kind of side stretch there. You may even feel this go into your glute down the side of your hip as well, depending where your tightness is. So let's swap over. Going to cross your right foot in front of your left foot, so your left hip drops down slightly, and we're going to reach up with the left hand and then reach up and reach over. So you're stretching up with fingertips, down with fingertips, you're taking a breath and gently bring that back down, and we'll do that one more time. So when you're ready, left arm goes up, reach up first, so up, 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 get that length and then go into the stretch. So we go into it nice and long and ready to go. Lovely, and back in. Okay, so we're going to start with our feet fairly close together. We're just going to go for a nice side step. These can be quite short steps to begin with. We're going to get wider as we go. So I just want you to take a step and back in. So you're bending into the knee slightly and coming back to centre. Okay, we're thinking about the alignment as we go from side to side. So the weight here should go through the hip and then straight through into the tripod and into the floor. The knee goes in the same direction as the toe, and we're not putting weight through the knee joint, okay? The weight's going through the heels, through the balls of the feet, and you can keep that middle leg nice and straight. And as you get a bit more confident with these, take a bigger step, okay? Try and get right to the edge of the mat if you can. If you can go further, great, go further. Okay, and you can either just focus on this. If you're feeling okay, and you're thinking, yeah, this is fine, easy peasy, we're going to add in a little bit of a reach. So as you go to the side, I want you to extend and reach with the hand and come back in. Okay, so reach with the hand, come back in. Make it quite a nice flowing movement with the hand. Control that return. So we come back up to a tall centre and out to the side, still getting that nice movement with the leg. And if you're going a little bit wider, you may even feel a bit of a stretch in the inner thigh as we keep that centre leg straight and the side step leg is bending. Just side to side. Let's do 2 more. Lovely. Taking that nice balletic arm float and back to centre then. Okay, so we're going for a nice wide leg roll down next. We're going to begin with the feet about mat width there. Toes might point outwards slightly, that's fine, as you know. Knees soft, please. And when you're ready, chin to chest. Gently taking that roll down. Draw that core in, keep that tailbone tucking down and flex through your spine, that nice forward fold. Lengthening the back of the neck, relaxing the crown down towards the floor, and then gently we're going to come back up, so pushing through the tripods, tucking the tailbone down, drawing the core in, gently lifting ribs up, chest up, head up. Now we're going to go slightly wider if it's okay with you. If you don't want to, that's fine, you can come narrower. And this time, once we're at the bottom, we're going to try and touch each toe. So inhale, prepare. Exhale, drawing that core in, keeping those glutes clenched, keeping the tailbone down until it's turn for the lumbar to flex. And then once we're at the bottom, we're going to just gently stretch over towards one toe. Relax that head, okay? You don't have to look to the foot, we're relaxing the head, lengthening the neck. And then we're going to gently transition over towards the other foot. Okay, and again, you might feel this stretch more down the side of the lower back. You might feel it more in the back of the legs. Back through to centre. And we're going to roll up, so soften those knees, push through the tripod, squeeze the glutes, start to lift up, upright through the upper body, take a reach up. And down into your wide leg roll down, let's go. So we're going to each foot. Once you're at the bottom, nice gentle stretch over to one side, reaching down one leg towards the toes. And relaxing that head. When you're ready, gently through centre towards the other foot. Relaxing that head, getting that lovely, lovely stretch through the legs and the back to the centre. Soften the knees, gently start to roll back up. Nice sequential movement through the spine, restacking, restacking, restacking. And last one, let's reach up. Good, and into your wide leg roll down, please, off you go. And then gently from side to side, whenever you're ready, just holding that stretch, relaxing that head. And I'm transitioning now to the other leg, reaching down the leg towards the foot. Centering myself, and then gently rolling back up. Lovely, and walking those feet back in. So we're going to go into our ankle, our heel raises. So we're just going to go left and right, heel pedals, okay? Gently lifting each heel. So we're getting a bit of movement through the ankles, warming up through the body, warming up through the joints. We should be starting to get there now. Okay, and from here we are going to step 1 foot forward, lift the toe. So the toe raises up towards the ceiling. You're then going to take a nice reach up through the spine. So lengthen, grow taller through the spine, lift the crown. And you're going to gently roll down the front leg, reach forward towards the floor, towards the video. Reaching up towards the ceiling and gently circling the arms back down and back into your heel pedals. Okay, you can get those arms going as well if you need to warm up. You can go slowly, fast with these, don't mind. And we'll go on the other leg, so step the foot forward, lift the toe. Tall through the spine, lengthen, 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 and then reaching down towards the foot, reaching forward towards the camera, reaching up towards the ceiling, and gently down. And again, I'm going to do that one more time on each leg. So when you're ready, foot forwards, toes up, reaching, lovely, 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 reaching forwards, reaching up, and hands down, and again into your heel pedals. And when you're ready, final time, nice and tall, reaching down, reaching forwards, reaching up, and gently bring those hands down. We're looking next at doing a slight back bend for the upper back, not the lower back. Doing this from a standing position. So to keep the lower back nice and straight, it's really important that we get our feet hip width apart, soften the knees, and then just tuck the tailbone down, because that's going to straighten and flatten your lumbar. Okay, you'll feel that difference between standing in neutral and tucking the tailbone down to flatten it. You're going to take your hands behind your back and see if you can just interlock your hands, okay? From here, we've got the tailbone down, pull your shoulder blades down towards your back side, and then all you're going to do is just lift the rib cage. Okay, so it's tiny, tiny back bend, and then lower the rib cage to return. Okay, so nice and simple. When you're ready, let's have another go. Soft knees, tailbone right down, hold your hands together. Tailbone down, shoulder blades right down, and then just lift the rib cage slightly. Breathe now, open that chest. Lovely, breathe again. And return. Okay, and we're going to do that with the hands up above us now, so we're going to have to pay much more attention to shoulder blades. So I'm just going to hold my hands nice and gently, not holding them too tight. Again, soft knees, tailbone tucks down, shoulder blades down, down, down. Okay, that's really important. Tailbone's down, shoulder blades are down. Core drawing in slightly, and then just gently lift the rib cage again. Tiny, tiny back bend for the upper back. Breathe. And you can come to stand back up to neutral. Okay, again, soft knees, tailbone down, shoulder blades down. Core in, lift the ribs. Breathing, looking ahead. And gently back up. Okay, lovely. Just relax, release those hands for a moment. And we're going to allow a little bit more flexion if you feel, a little bit more extension if you feel in control. Okay, if you want to keep that control there, keep it. This is just for those of you who want to push a little bit further back. Same principle, hands up above the head, nice comfortable grasp on the hands. Tailbone down with those soft knees, soften the knees, tailbone down, shoulder blades down, draw that core in, and then lift up through the rib cage. And then if you want to, you might want to go an inch, half an inch further into that back bend. Keep the tailbone down, keep the shoulder blades down, keep the core on. And then gently come back up to a standing position, and you can bring those hands back down. And then just start to roll out through the shoulders then, please. We're going to move on to some shoulder stretching, some shoulder work. So you'll also need a strap or a stretchy band if you don't have a strap. So let's grab hold of our strap, and we're going to start with a double-handed overhead shoulder stretch. So I'm going slightly wider than my shoulders with the grip here. If you're not sure, go wider and work your way in, okay? So a wider grip should be a bit easier. And all you're going to do is take that band out in front of you. It's going to then go up above your head, and you're trying to get the band either above the head or slightly back behind the head. Okay, and don't push it, just go so it's mildly uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be vastly uncomfortable. Just hold and breathe. Tailbone can tuck down slightly, core can come in. We can breathe. So I'm not at full range at all. I'm just focusing on this gentle stretch and the breathing. One more breath. And gently bring the band or the strap back down. Roll those shoulders out again. We're going to have another go at that. So as I say, you don't have to go into full stretch mode with this. I just want you to hold where it's slightly uncomfortable, and then use the breath to then decide how much further you want to go. Okay, I want you to do at least 2 breaths before you increase the stretch, at least 2. So whenever you're ready, hands forward, hands overhead. If you can get them above your head. If you can get them above your head, try and push back, just so that it's mildly uncomfortable, and then at least 2 or 3 breaths. core is on, supporting that centre of the body. Lovely, breathing into the front of those shoulders. And if you want to go further, if your shoulders are happy, relax them further, don't push them further. They want to be able to relax into the stretch. So another couple of breaths. And again, if they're ready to relax further back, allow them to relax further back. Keep that breath going, focusing on your muscles all the time. And to return, we push up towards the ceiling, and then we bring the hands back down and round. And again, you can just circle your shoulders out. Similar principle now, but with the hands a bit lower. So the band's actually going to come behind the back, and we're going to hold it. Again, obviously go a bit wider if you're unsure, but about shoulder width is probably quite good here. And we're going to take the band back behind us. So I've just got my fists kind of either side of the thighs there. I'm softening the knees as normal, tucking the tailbone down, drawing that core in slightly. Thinking about lifting my crown up towards the ceiling and lengthening the back of the neck. I'm going to inhale. And as I exhale, I'm going to engage through the backs of the arms, gently pushing behind me. I'm going to hold. So I've got to squeeze through the shoulder blades, and I've got an opening through the chest. And I'm going to release. Okay, and again, you can adjust. I might go a bit wider for this one. When you're ready, it's that push back, and you should get a good stretch down the front of the shoulder and opening of the chest. Keep that back of the neck nice and long. Keep that core drawn in, that B-line drawn in. Lovely, we're going to do one more. So when you're ready, take a nice few breaths, and again, if you want to progress the stretch, I want you to be able to kind of relax into it rather than push into it. So we're going for soft knees, we're going for tailbone tucked down, we're going for B-line drawn in, we're lengthening the back of the neck, and when we're ready, we're just going to push back, open the front of the shoulders, open the chest. Take a couple of breaths. Keep that B-line in, please. And only push further if you can relax into it. And then gently return and release. Okay, next shoulder stretch we're going to do is to try and get our hands to touch behind our backs. Now, if you can already do that, great practice. If you're not sure, we're going to use the strap, okay? So I'll show you from the back. I'm going to just gently drape the strap over one shoulder. I'm going to hold on to the strap at the top, and then the bottom hand is going to come around, okay? We're going elbow up, and we're tugging with the bottom hand in order to kind of pull your top arm, okay? So we should be getting a good stretch through the tricep, okay? And a good stretch and a bit of mobility at the shoulder as well. So the aim is to get this elbow to point up towards the ceiling, okay? And to kind of walk the hands further down the spine towards the bottom. And this bottom hand is just here to aid you, to help you, okay? We're concerned with this shoulder up by our ear at the moment. That's the stretch that we're looking for. So, as I say, it's a good tricep stretch. You'll feel it at the back of the upper arm. But it should be really nice for your shoulder mobility as well. Let's take another couple of breaths. And then we're going to gently just relax there. You can give it a bit of a shake out or a bit of a roll, shrug, whatever you need to do. And we're just going to do the same again on the other side. So you want to hold on to the top of the band, okay, and you're tugging with the bottom hand. So try and get your elbow up towards the ceiling and your hand to come over the shoulder, okay. You're looking to get this hand to pat yourself on the back as the elbow sticks up. And again, you can just use that bottom hand to tug and pull. Okay, I'm using the strap just because not all of you will be able to reach. If you can reach, you can pull with your hands, that's fine. But it's nice to have that strap there. It allows your bottom arm to relax whilst we stretch and focus on the top arm. Okay, which as I said earlier is a really important feature of stretching, is that you focus on the stretch at hand rather than making the rest of the body uncomfortable. Okay, because what you don't need is kind of involuntary tension throughout the body, so you don't relax and stretch as effectively. So when you've had a go there and you're happy with that, we can gently pop that band to one side. We will need it later on, may need it later on, so just keep it handy. We're going to come to actually sit on our feet next. So again, it might need some adaptations for some of you. Some of you might like your rolled up towel underneath your ankles, and some of you might like a couple of blocks. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, this is the position we're going for. Okay, with a nice straight spine, if that's comfortable for you. If it's not comfortable, we're going to take rolled up towel or blanket underneath the ankles. Okay, that can help to support your ankles a little bit. And then if it's not comfy on the knees or the hips, you can take a block or two and sit down like so. Okay, if it's really not comfortable at all, you can come to sit with your legs crossed or however you would like to sit. Okay. And we're just going to sit here for a moment, okay? Shouldn't be too much weight through the knees. In fact, sitting on the blocks is really, really lovely. Even if you don't need it, it's quite nice because it takes a lot of pressure out the knees and takes the pressure then through the feet instead. Okay, if you want a bit more of a challenge, you're going to take your jumper, blanket, towel a bit further back towards the toes and then come to sit down. Okay, that will give you more of a stretch down the front of the ankle and down the front of the shin there. Okay, so they're your options for easier, for harder, for modifications. And the idea here is what we're doing is just pointing our toes, but we're applying pressure to that pointed toe, because that's kind of that toe pointing isn't something we do very often. Okay, it's not a stretched position that we're in very often, and it's really nice. So we can do quite a lot from this position. Okay, we're going to gently start kind of moving around from our seat. So once you're happy, once you're ready, we're going to start with some cat-cow positions, which is just going to be a front bend and a back bend. So you can take the hands to the hips or you can take the hands to the thighs, and all you're going to do is gently start to C-shape, curve the spine to forward fold, dropping the chin to the chest, and then we're going into our back bend the other way. So it's ribs up, chest up, and still look ahead of you. And you're just going forwards and backwards. In your time, you don't have to do it with me. Just breathe on each movement. Forwards and backwards. Front bending, back bending. And then we're going to turn these into some spinal circles. So what I'd like you to do is to start thinking about the chest. And I want you to circle the chest forward, circle the chest backward. So you get this lovely movement of a back bend and a front bend and a nice chest movement. So you're dipping and circling the chest. And then we're just going to change direction as well. So we've gone both ways. Good, and then come back up to that nice tall position. I'm just going to have a little wiggle around so you can see me from a better angle. Okay, and I'm adjusting my blanket as well under my ankles to give me a bit more comfort now. And we're going for an oblique stretch. So we're going to stretch up with one hand, reaching up, 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 up. And we're going to reach up and over. You can take the spare hand to the floor to support you, or if you're not quite there, take a block to support you. Okay, and just reach up and over and try and keep the hips fairly level, fairly centered, and just lift the rib cage, lift the armpit up and away. Take a breath in and a breath out. Lovely, and again and push through that block to bring you back up to centre, and we'll go on the other side. Again, you might be a bit uneven, you might need a couple of blocks on this side, see where you get to, reaching up and up and over. Good. Another breath. Okay, we're going to do that one more time on each side. I'm going to give you an option if you want to progress it, which is actually to come and kneel up, okay? So you may already, some of you, be kneeling up slightly because you're on your blocks under your bums, but see how you get on with this. It's going to be the same principle, reaching up and over, but as you reach up and over, try and gently lift the hips, and you should get a little bit of a stretch down through the hip flexor there, okay, into the tummy a bit. Reaching up and over, and gently down, okay? And again on the other side, whenever you're ready, reaching up and over, and if it's comfortable for you, take some weight through the hand, gently pushing and thrust the hip forwards, and feel that lovely stretch right down the tummy there. Breathe. And back down. Oh, I love that one. Okay, so we're going to just have a little go at circling through the wrists now. Circle them one way and circle them out the other way. And we're going to walk our hands forwards out to our hands and knees. So when you are ready from your kneeling position, remove your jumper, remove your blocks, and just start to walk your hands forward out to the hands and knees now. And we're going to have a go at threading the needle, okay, which is quite a common Pilates exercise here. And it starts with a neutral spine. So think about your pelvic tilts here. Okay, we've got a good setup with the knee under the hip, okay? We've gone through our pelvic tilts to check that we're not arching too much in either direction. We've come for a nice flat spine. We're drawing the belly button away from the mat, and we've got each wrist under each shoulder. If you do need to move your hands away for support here, do. I'd go for a wide fingertip on the ground for a wider base of support, and it's going to be your reach up. As you reach up, take a nice inhale. And as you reach down, you're reaching through this hole in the middle of the body. And you're coming to really reach the fingertips through. And come to see if you can rest the head and the shoulder on the floor. Okay, you've had to bend your supporting arm as you posted the hand through. And you get a lovely stretch through the side and the back of the shoulder there. Take a breath. And then gently come back to centre. I'll show you that on the other side. So it's going to be reaching up. We're going to take a nice big inhale as we stretch up. And gently take that hand, post it through the hole there. Head comes towards the floor, shoulder comes towards the floor. And this is kind of threading the thread through the eye of the needle. That's where this name comes from. And it gives you a lovely stretch in the back of the shoulder, perhaps even in the shoulder blade as well, kind of pulling the shoulder blade away from the spine. Lovely, and I'm going to come back up. So I'm going to do that one more time on each side. I'm going to reach up, reach, twist, kind of get the chest to lift and rotate. And then gently post that hand through. Really reach the fingertips as far away from you as you can as you come to rest the head and the shoulder on the ground. And it's quite a restful stretch this. You should feel quite supported by the shoulder, by the knees, by the spare hand. And let's come back to centre, and last one, reaching up, inhaling. And gently start to take that hand through, come to finish off your needle thread stretch. Lovely, and back to child's pose. So that means we're going to take our bottoms back towards our feet. Again, if you're somebody who needs some blocks, take those blocks back so you can sit on the blocks. Extend nice wide hands down to the mat, okay? And take your child's pose there. relaxing the forehead on the floor. You can even come to relax the forehead on the hands if you like to, but it is nice to extend the fingertips and really reach with the fingers so that you get that stretch through your back. So you're kind of stretching from the crown of your head to your tailbone. Lovely. And you can spread the fingertips and really push the fingertips into the mat to push your tailbone closer towards your heels. Wonderful. And we're just going to come to sit up slightly there. And we're going to go for a frog leg stretch, okay? This one's quite a tricky one. It's to get your inner thighs and kind of the front of your hips as well. We're going to walk forwards onto all fours to start with, and then we need a wide leg. So it's going to be thighs nice and wide. You can hold on to blocks if you want to support yourself. So you've got this nice wide leg stretch, okay? Now check the alignment of your feet. Some of you will have your feet coming in, some of your feet will be splayed out. I want your feet to be like ankle directly behind your knee, okay? So feet aren't in, feet aren't out, they're directly in line with the knees, if that makes sense, and your toes can spread out. So we're in frog legs, okay? They do look a bit like a frog. And what we're going to do is just gently see if you can get those knees slightly wider. You can use blocks or the ground to support you. And we're just gently coming to open those legs nice and wide and open those hips. I'm just checking that my ankles are still behind my knees here. Okay, and then from here, what I'd like you to think about is, are you really far forward? Do you need to take your tailbone back slightly, okay, so that it's more in line with the knees, so your bottom's in line with the knees. And the next thing I'd like you to think about is just gently tucking your tailbone down, okay? That's going to really increase the stretch. Obviously make yourself comfortable if you need to come higher or lower with your blocks. Okay, you might be somewhere at kind of this point. Okay, and that's absolutely fine, absolutely fine. Tuck that tailbone down, feel that lovely, lovely stretch. Okay, and then to come out of this, you obviously want to bring yourself upwards slightly, and you want to gently draw one knee in, and you can walk each knee back in towards the centre, and I'm sure you can feel that there in your inner thighs and at the front of your hips. Next stretch we're going to do is part of our lunge sequence, which I absolutely adore, this lunge sequence. We're going to start nice and simple. You'll have done it with me before, probably on previous videos. We're going to start with a kneeling position. So it's just kneeling on one knee, and we're quite upright. I've got these blocks here just to kind of save me if I'm feeling a bit wobbly. Obviously, wider legs are going to make you a bit more secure. Narrower legs, you're going to be more tempted to fall over. So get those legs in position. The other thing to think about is knees. I've got double mat thickness here, which is slightly more comfortable, but do feel free to reposition the leg and the knee so that the kneecap's comfortable. So we're kneeling up quite high, and the idea here is just going to be to gently sink the hips forwards, okay, without taking too much pressure through the front knee. If we're taking pressure through the front knee, you're going to want to step the front foot forwards and come into more of an extended kind of kneeling lunge position. Okay. And from whatever your extended lunge looks like, just try and sit there where you feel quite secure, okay? Want to use those blocks if you need them, and just think about always trying to sink your hips lower towards the mat, okay? Again, adjust that kneecap if it's not feeling ideal, okay? You can always get extra padding underneath that there. So yeah, the idea is just to sink the hips forward, maybe just relax some tension in the shoulders if possible, okay? It's quite tempting to hold a lot of tension, but trying to relax those hips. And you should be looking for, I'm sure you know by now, this stretch down the front of the quad there into the front of the hip as well. Okay, so just take your time. Whatever this looks like for you, it might be a bit shorter and a bit taller, that's good as well. As long as you're feeling that relaxed and that your knees comfortable, your shoulders are nice and relaxed. And we're going to just increase this into a full extended lunge rather than a kneeling lunge by curling the back toes underneath you, and then gently just see if you can lift the knee. Okay, so squeeze the bottom, squeeze, 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 squeeze through the thigh. You don't have to stay here for too long, okay? You can just stay for another couple of breaths, and then you can put the knee back down as and when you want to, okay? So gently and flatten the foot again. Okay, so the next part of this lunge stretch I'm going to do is actually to bring the hands inside the front leg, and I'm going to just gently walk, tiptoe that front foot to the side of my mat, right to the edge of my mat, okay? And then I'm going to see if I can gently, that gives me enough room to bring my chest a bit further forward towards the floor, okay? See where you get to. You can walk down nice and gently. You can use whatever kind of width or depth of the blocks that you want. Okay, so we've got that front leg nice and wide, the back knee hasn't moved, and we've just come further forward to sink closer towards the mat. Take a nice breath, lengthen that spine. And relax on the exhale. Lovely. One more breath. And then we're going to gently walk our way back up again. So nice and careful with the blocks as you walk your way back up. And you can walk some of the weight into that back knee. Okay, I'm going to bring a block either side of my body again. And I'm going to bring that front leg and tuck it back in. And we're going to have a go on the other side now, aren't we? So we're going into our other leg forward. So starting in that kneeling position, remember just check your width on your feet and your leg. Make sure you're not too narrow and wobbly. Okay, and as you know then, we just start to see if we can sink the hips forwards. As you sink the hips forwards, you might find your knee overshoots your foot, in which case you need to make sure that ankle comes forward underneath the kneecap. Okay, and again, you can just gently start sinking the hips a bit further forward, and as soon as the knee starts to overshoot the ankle, you start crawling the foot forwards, okay? And again, you've got these blocks at whatever height you want them to be at. And try and relax those shoulder blades down. Make sure that back kneecap's comfortable enough. Take a few breaths, good. Okay, and as I say, it doesn't matter what yours might look like. Yours might look a little bit higher than mine. Just feel that stretch. Down the front of the thigh into the front of the hip. So we're going to go for our extended lunge. So curl your back toes underneath you onto the mat, and then when you're ready, you gently lift that knee. You don't have to hold it for very long, hold it for as long as you want to. I've got quite a lot of weight going through the blocks. And then when you're ready, you can gently lower the knee and flatten the foot out again. Okay, so next part of the stretch, we're going to have a go at gently walking that front foot, tiptoeing it to the width of the mat, to the edge of the mat, and bring the hands inside the legs, okay, inside that front leg. You're then going to see if you can gently start to get your body slightly through and down towards the mat, okay, see if there's any space there. Don't worry if there isn't much space. Okay, and we are lengthening that spine. Inhale, lengthen spine. And exhale, sink the hips. Lovely stuff. Keep breathing there. Really nice, well done. And then we're going to walk our way back up, so we're going to gradually use those blocks to build ourselves up a little bit taller and a little bit taller. And we're bringing the weight onto the back knee. Okay, bringing the blocks side by side. And then hopefully we can get that leg back in. Well done. Okay, we're going to come to sit on our bottoms now with our legs out nice and wide. You may want to sit on a block. Okay, you might be fine on the floor. So grab your block if you want one. And let's take those legs fairly wide. They don't have to be as wide as you can go. Okay, you can come in a little bit. Just try and get those toes up towards the ceiling, and check about the rotation of the knees as well. You might find that your knees rotate forwards or backwards. I want your kneecaps to point up and your toes to point up, please. So we're going to start with a little bit of a stretch. So we're just going to see if we can take our hands to the floor, fingertips to the floor, and just see if we can come forward slightly. Okay, it doesn't have to be anything exciting this one. We're just easing into it nice and gently. So knees up, kneecaps up, toes up, and just gently walking the hands slightly further forward. Okay, and just start to feel a gentle kind of fire, gentle fire. That's a juxtaposition, if ever I said one, in the inner thigh. Okay, so it's just a gentle movement. We're relaxing the shoulders. We're not pushing. We're just seeing how far we can go in a fairly relaxed way. And then we're going to walk the hands back in. Okay, we're going to go down one side now, so choose a side, whichever side you want to. We're going to make sure the chest is facing forward, and it's just going to be like a side bend, so we're not going to twist in towards the foot. We're going to keep looking forwards, and we're going to just gently take the hand down towards the kneecap, and then side bend. In fact, you can twist away from the leg slightly, so rather than staying straight on with the chest, twist away from the leg so it becomes a side bend. You can look towards the opposite foot as you reach down toward the ankle. Okay, get your head in a comfortable position, so maybe have a look around and see where it does feel the most comfortable. Just breathe there. What we're going to do then with the spare hand is reach it up towards the ceiling. That is probably enough, okay? If you do want more, you can come obviously over the head to try to touch towards the foot. But up towards the ceiling should give you a great stretch down the lower back, okay? So I'm just relaxing one arm on the leg as I reach down towards the foot, and the other hand's just reaching up towards the ceiling. If you want to go further, obviously you can feel free to test the water there and reach over the head and just hold and breathe wherever you are. We come out of a stretch in reverse, so we relax the hand back down and we gently, slowly come back up to centre. Okay, I'm going down the other leg now. So you gently, kneecaps up, toes up, gently reaching down towards the shin, towards the ankle, towards the foot, and you've twisted the chest away. If you want to then, you're taking the hand up. I've got my head nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. I'm resting my hand on my leg to prop me up a bit. And I'm just reaching up towards the ceiling. Good. Take another nice breath in, please. Lovely. And we're going to drop the arm gently down first, okay? And then engage tummy, slow retreat back up. So we're going to go down the centre one more time. We're going to reach up, lengthen the spine. Hands are going to come down first, and we're going to gently, kneecaps up, toes up, straight spine, go as far forward as you can with a straight back. Once you've got there, you can let your back curve and gently come down. So the idea is to try and get hands flat on the floor. If you can get hands flat on the floor, some of you, a couple of you, I know can get elbows towards the floor as well. So don't worry if you're not quite there, but try and get forearms and elbows. That's your one to work on, okay? Toes up, kneecaps up. Breathe, please. Lengthen that spine on the inhale. And exhale, come back down into the stretch. Lovely. And walk those hands back in. Really good. Okay, we are going to help ourselves bring our legs back into the middle and give it a really good shake out. We're moving on to our hamstring sequence next, so you'll need a strap. You might want a block foot under your head if that makes you more comfortable. So grab one of those if you want to, and we're going to lay down on our backs. You're going to loop the strap around the foot and send that foot straight up towards the ceiling there. And just pull on it, okay? Nice, pull your thigh in towards your tummy. You can keep a slight softness at the knee if you need it. Okay, you don't have to completely lock the knee out, but try and get a straightish leg, but with a gentle softness at the knee as we pull in. And think about what your shoulders, your grip, maybe you're pulling really hard and holding tight through your shoulders. Maybe just relax your grip a little bit, or change your grip around, see what's comfortable. And just start, as I say, pulling the thigh in towards the stomach. That's your first job. Pull the thigh into the stomach and take a breath. Your next job is going to be to take the spare leg, which is bent, foot on the floor, and gently straighten that out, point the toe along the mat towards the end of your mat. And take a breath. Nice, keep breathing. Your next job is going to be to see and ask if there's any more space available at the hip joint, to just see if you can pull that thigh bone closer to the stomach. Lovely. Good breath. For your next job, you might need to release some tension on the strap, because we're going to hold on to one end of the strap and let the leg come out nice and wide away from the body, so that we open through the inside of the hip. So this is going to hit similar to the stretch we just did seated, okay? And if you want to get this more intense, you want to get your toes up in the direction of your head. So you want to keep the leg wide and just pull the strap to pull the toes and the leg a little bit higher, okay? And that should give you a more intense stretch. Again, just be mindful that you're not overdoing it through the hands and the shoulders. And then we're going to bring that leg back through centre, and it's going across the other side. So across the centre line, the midline of the body, and over. Okay, that hip might lift off the floor, that's fine, absolutely fine. Just try and keep the shoulders on the mat, okay? Shoulders on the mat. And again, if you need to make that a little bit harder, if you go, no, I'm not really feeling anything, you want to try and get the toes a bit higher up in the direction of the head. Okay, so it's nice and wide, and then it's coming up towards the head end of your mat. And then we'll bring that back in. Okay, moving on to a bit of a calf stretch. We're going to gently point the toes in towards our face and push the heel up towards the ceiling. Okay, this is quite an intense calf stretch, as you know. I'm going to give you a few different kind of rotations and directions to play with as well. I'd like you to think about at the moment how straight the foot is, okay? The toes and the ankle are well in line with the knee. But what you can do is to just gently rotate and twist so the toes and the foot kind of go onto its side. And you can rotate and twist the other way, okay? You can play around with that rotation of your ankle, and it should just give you a slightly different angle at the calf, okay, for its stretch. And just once you find a good one, hold it, okay? Some of you might just like that linear central position. I prefer it. But if you've got particular tightness down the edge of your calf, this kind of rotating of the foot left to right could help a little bit there. But whichever way you're going, try and keep pulling your toes in and pushing your heel away. So let's gently bend the knee, release that strap, and we'll swap legs. So you take your other leg up, spare leg just rests on the floor for now. And start pulling that thigh in towards the stomach, please, and take a few breaths there. I love this hamstring sequence, it's amazing. One of the best ones, one of the best stretches you can get, I think. So again, when you're ready, we're going to straighten the spare leg, pointing the toe to the bottom end of the mat. And take a nice deep breath, please. And then just see if you can ask your hip for a little bit more space as we pull the thigh even closer. And then we're going to just gently release some tension as we go for our nice wide open hip, open leg. Taking that out to the side, lovely. And again, remember, if you need more, you try and get the toes a bit higher, up to the top end, the head end of your mat. And enjoy. Okay, this is still hamstrings, it's just come more inside the leg, okay? You don't just have, we talk about muscles in very simplified terms, a hamstring, a quadricep, there's a hip flexor, there's so many that interact with one another that you can hit at different angles. And then we're going to come back in through the centre, across the midline of the body and in the other direction. And as we said, that hip can lift off, but try and keep your shoulders on the mat if at all possible. And again, you can bring that toe higher up towards the head end of your mat if you need to increase the stretch. Good, and let's come back through to the centre and go into our calf. So strap around kind of the ball of the foot, pull the toes in, push the heel up. Okay, so rather than this position, you're flexing the toes towards your face and pushing the heel away. And again, if you want to play around with that rotation in or out of the ankle, of the toes, please feel free to kind of have a move around there to get a different position. You may even like that pushing and pointing the toe to get the stretch across the top of the ankle. Okay, loads of options here, just by very subtle angle changes. And let's take a breath. Lovely, keep breathing. And we're going to bend the knee, release. Now keep that strap handy because we might need it for the next one. Just going to check my little list of what I've got left for you all. Okay, we're going to go on to our tummies. We're nearly there now, don't worry. We're going to just go on to our tummies to do a bit of a stretch for our core. So this is going to be like a cobra movement. So we're going to start on the forearms, okay? Always start on the forearms so that we don't go into too big of a back bend. We're well warmed up today though, so you should be okay. We're going to take our elbows underneath our shoulders, okay? And our hands nice and flat spread across the floor. And all we're going to do is, rather than push up, a lot of people think it's an upward movement, this cobra. It's not up and back, it's up and forwards, okay? I know that sounds a bit weird, but you'll get it when you get there. So it's a nice push up onto the forearms, and then you're kind of lifting your rib cage, lifting your chest, and then trying to push your ribs and your chest forwards through your shoulder girdle, okay? So rather than trying to push away from the mat and push back towards your feet, you're pushing up and forward, so up and through. Really get that nice forward motion as you try and elongate the front of your stomach. That's what we're looking for, is to keep the hips and the pubic bone on the floor. Pull the chest and the ribs through the shoulders as if you're trying to kind of drag your body between your shoulders, between your arms. It's quite active, okay? It needs a bit of upper body strength for that pull. And then you can gently release down and take a pause. So I really, really like that one. As I say, you can go up onto the hands rather than the forearms, but I would never go to a straight arm, okay? Because if you go into a straight arm, you do fall back into that awful back bend trick, and we don't need to do a back bend, okay? We're just looking to stretch the core. So if you are going on the hands, you want to take the hands to the side of the shoulders and press up. Depending how flexible you are will depend where you want your hands to be, okay? I'm keeping a slight bend in my arms because, as I say, I don't want to go all the way back. Keeping a slight bend in the arms. And then I'm just pulling again, pushing my chest and my ribs forwards ahead of me. So where my nose is pointing, I'm trying to push my ribs and my chest there too. And I'm going to come back down for a little break. If you need to, you can do a child's pose in the middle of these just to kind of counteract the back bend with a front bend. I'm just going to do one more. So when you're ready, elbows and forearms or onto the hands. And you're pushing, almost dragging the body through the shoulders as if you're trying to drag yourself along the floor. And then gently releasing, relaxing. Okay, we're going to go onto a bit of a quad stretch now. So I'm just going to grab that strap one more time. And we're going to just pull the foot in towards us. So that can go around the front of the ankle. And we're just going to pull that foot in. And hopefully get a bit of a stretch then through the front of the quad. Okay, just breathe in there. And I'm going to swap onto the other side. So I'm going to release that strap. Take it around the other leg. Okay, around the front of the ankle is about right. And then you can pull that in. So you're trying to pull your heel close towards your bottom. And that should give you a stretch along the front of your leg. Good, release there. Okay, we're going to come to all fours, so if you can gently just bring yourself up onto your hands and knees. We're going to just do a little cat-cow before we go into downward dog to finish. So we're just going to gently ease through the spine, make sure everything's nice and mobile. Should be feeling loads better today. Okay, and we're going to lift this into a bit of a downward dog. So I'd like you to come to like an extended plank position. Okay, and then you're just going to push your bottom up towards the sky. Make sure you're not going to slip. You can move your hands around a bit if you need to. You want to try and get your heels towards the floor. Don't worry if they're not quite there. Lift the tailbone up to the ceiling and look between your thighs. Good. And we're going to come back down to the hands and knees and then come to a seated position just to stretch our necks to finish off. So again, a block if you'd like to sit on a block. Good. And we're going to just finish off with our lovely neck stretching. So we're going to take one hand, palm upwards on the knee, okay? And this is going to just help to ground our shoulders. Now, if you've got the mobility, I want you to go around and grab hold of the elbow, okay? So that's brought my hand back a little bit. It's not directly on the knee anymore, it's come back. If you're not quite there, use your strap, okay? So you still go palm up on the thigh, and you can just hold on with the strap then. Okay, the idea is that it just pulls the shoulders back and down into place. Okay, so we're going to work on looking towards the elbow. So look down towards the elbow, and that should give you already a little bit of a stretch down the side of the neck. So looking diagonally down towards the elbow, towards the hip. That is the elbow that has the strap around it, or that you're holding on to. And then I want you to look diagonally up and away. And then back down in towards the elbow. Take a breath. Diagonally look up and away. And then back down in towards the elbow. And back to centre. We're going to look towards the elbow but upwards on the diagonal. So you're looking over to that left side but diagonally up. And then diagonally down and away. Okay, diagonally up. And back down. And last one, looking up. And looking back down. And then gently look back to centre. Release your elbow, release your strap. Have a go on the other side. So you want to place palm up on the kneecap. Okay, if you need to, we're going to use the strap to just grab on to the elbow. And I'm just holding on to the strap behind me there. Okay. So we're going to look diagonally down in towards the elbow with the strap on it. And then diagonally look up and away. And then back in. And up and away. And then back in. Back to centre. Okay, so looking towards the elbow and the strap, but up towards the ceiling, so we're going up on that side. And then again, we're coming through the diagonal now to look towards the opposite hip. And up and away. And down in towards the opposite hip. Good, last one, look away. And then on the diagonal, look in. Return the head back to centre and release, relax those arms. Let's roll those shoulders out. Okay, if you need to have a little bit of a tilt from side to side or a look from left to right, please have a go. Maybe a look up and down, just to ease your neck through. And we'll finish then by taking a nice reach up, inhale. And gently down on the exhale. And reach up. And down. And last one, reach it up. And reach it back down. So I hope you are feeling absolutely wonderful. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.